South Korean President Yoon Song-yeol wraps up his busy diplomatic schedule at the ASEAN and G20 summits, reinforcing closer ties with allies and partners on security and trade, while upping the nation's contributions on the global stage. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is reportedly moving towards the border with Russia, while both the regime and Moscow are remaining tight-lipped on whether a Kim-Putin meeting will take place. The devastating earthquake in Morocco has left more than 2,100 dead amid fears that the death toll could rise further. Help pours in from the international community, including South Korea. It's September 11th, 2023. This is News Center. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Min. We begin this evening with the wrap-up of the diplomatic super week of ASEAN and G20 summits. South Korean President Yoon Song-yeol returned home today as he finished his packed diplomatic schedule there. The summit diplomacy focused on reinforcing cooperation on security and trade while upping the nation's contributions on the global stage. Our foreign affairs correspondent Min-jee has key takeaways.
While taking part in the ASEAN and G20 summits, President Yoon Song-yeol reiterated the key aspects of the strengthened cooperation between South Korea, the U.S., and Japan. Based on that, he focused on expanding cooperation with ASEAN countries. Wrapping up the week-long schedule, the presidential office explained that what was achieved during the overseas trip reflects what the three countries declared at the Camp David summit just a few weeks ago.
The principles and spirit of Camp David have provided a basis for agreements during summits on ASEAN and G20. Specifically speaking, the trilateral cooperation of Camp David aims to contribute to the Indo-Pacific region, especially in areas such as development, maritime security, and the growth of advanced digital technology.
As for relations with China, the president appears to have taken a two-track approach. While addressing North Korean issues during his summit with the Chinese Premier Li Qiang in Jakarta, he pressured China to play a responsive role as a permanent member of the UN Security Council. But at the same time, he said he hopes these matters will not get in the way of their bilateral relations, and called for Beijing's support in hosting a trilateral summit with Japan in the near future. Meanwhile, the top office explained that during this past week, President Yoon met with the leaders of more than 20 countries, using the opportunity to drum up support for Busan's bid to host the World Expo in 2030. He made sure to let those leaders know that the Busan Expo will focus on solutions to crises the world faces today. President Yoon also laid out ways for his country to fulfill its responsible diplomacy, which included more funding for Ukraine. Speaking at the G20 summit, he pledged $2.3 billion to support recovery efforts in Ukraine. He said South Korea will provide a $300 million package in 2024 and a $2 billion mid to long-term support plan consisting of long-term low-interest loans starting from 2025.
This demonstrates Seoul's responsible role in leading the way to support the restoration of peace as a global pivotal state that contributes to freedom, peace and prosperity in the world, while also laying the foundation for full-scale participation in Ukraine's reconstruction in the future.
Lastly, the president also focused on deepening economic and security ties with Indonesia and India, which have emerged as prominent markets. While meeting his Indonesian counterpart Joko Widodo in Jakarta, the two leaders vowed to successfully complete the joint project, launched in 2015, to build an advanced supersonic fighter jet together by 2026. They also decided to sign an agreement on halal food products to serve as a basis for related exports from South Korea. During the summit with the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, the two sides agreed to expand cooperation in fields including energy and space. This comes after South Korea successfully launched its first homegrown space rocket Duri in May, and India made history by becoming the first country to land on the lunar South Pole region. Min-jee, Arirang News.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is reportedly moving upward towards the border with Russia as we speak. He is likely to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in the Far East. For more on this, we have our North Korean affairs correspondent Lee Dae-hyun on the line. Dae-hyun, what do we know so far?
Right, Jong-min. Now, South Korea's top officials say that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is on his way to the northeastern border where he's forecasted to leave for Russia. Yonhap News reports that Kim appears to have taken his private train. It's widely expected that the meeting between Kim and his Russian counterpart Putin will take part on Wednesday. However, Kremlin spokesperson said that the talks between the two leaders will not take place at the Eastern Economic Forum. On Sunday, Kim Jong-un was spotted in Kim Il-sung Square taking pictures with the participants of the paramilitary parade. He was expected to leave for Vladivostok on that day at the earliest, where the Eastern Economic Forum is currently underway. It has been reported that Kim had moved his schedule, taking into account his personal exposure risk and following negative comments coming out of recent multilateral diplomatic events. Citing multiple sources, Russian news agency Interfax said that the North Korean leader is likely to visit the Russian Far East in the coming days, however, added that the sources did not specify details on Kim's visit. A local government official from Russia also said that they had been preparing for Kim's visit for a long time. Interfax earlier reported that Putin will take part in the Eastern Economic Forum for 2 days starting Monday, but his official schedule does not include talks with the North Korean leader.
And what do officials in Seoul have to say about this?
Well, South Korea's defense ministry earlier on Monday said that there's a high possibility that Kim will have talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The unification ministry also expressed concerns following a high chance of military ties between Pyongyang and Moscow. Take a listen.
We're concerned about the military cooperation between the two. We want to make sure that the bilateral ties should not harm international norms and peace on the Korean Peninsula.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris also warned that the meeting between the two leaders would be a huge mistake for the North. She said this during an interview on CBS where she said this is Russia's, quote, act of desperation. Harris said that it's, quote, predictable that the North's arms supply would be used for Russia's war in Ukraine, which will further isolate Pyongyang and Moscow. South Korea's Foreign Minister Park Jin on Sunday sat down with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, on the sidelines of the G20 summit in New Delhi. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that Park highlighted that the relations between North Korea and Russia should aim for peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and the northeastern Asia. The minister also urged Russia's constructive cooperation with the UN Security Council on the North Korean issue. That's all I have for this hour, but I'll be back with more updates in the later newscast. Back to you, Jong-min.
All right, that was our North Korean affairs correspondent, Lee Dae-hyun. Thank you. It's been a little over 3 weeks since Japan started releasing wastewater from the defunct Fukushima nuclear power plant into the ocean. And today it finished the first batch of the release, a total of nearly 8,000 tons. As Tokyo gears up for a second release within the coming weeks, South Korea is planning to dispatch its nuclear experts to the site again next week. Our Lee Si-hoo reports.
The first release of Fukushima wastewater that began on August 24th ended a little after noon on Monday, according to reports by Japanese public broadcaster NHK. South Korea's Office for Government Policy Coordination shared relevant details about this also on Monday during a regular briefing.
When the cleaning of the leftover wastewater inside the transfer facility is completed today, the release of the first discharge will have been completed.
Park added that a total of over 7,700 cubic meters of wastewater was released. There were no manual shutdowns or the operation of emergency valves to prevent the accidental release of undiluted wastewater. The wastewater included tritium, a form of radioactive hydrogen the processing system cannot filter out.
Samples collected from 14 points in waters within 10 kilometers of the nuclear power plant show that the tritium concentration was much lower than the standard for the suspension of the release.
Back in August, South Korea and the International Atomic Energy Agency agreed to share related information and updates on the discharge. As part of this information sharing framework, Seoul dispatched 3 experts on August 27th from the Korea Institute of Nuclear Safety to Fukushima. For around 2 weeks, they visited the release site and held multiple talks with the IAEA, confirming the agency's own analysis of radionuclide concentrations separate from those of the Tokyo Electric Power Company. The experts and officials from the IAEA and the local office in Fukushima will conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the first release via video conference this week. South Korea once again is planning to dispatch experts to the site sometime next week. The Government Policy Coordination Office said during its briefing that the date of the second discharge has not been determined thus far. However, Japan's public broadcaster NHK reported later that day that it will begin after about 3 weeks of equipment checks. 이시후, Arirang News.
Over in Morocco, Friday's earthquake has left more than 2,000 people dead amid fears that the number could rise further. To help recover from the disaster, the international community is lending a helping hand. Song Yujin has the latest.
More than 2,100 people have lost their lives and over 2,400 have been injured in Friday's powerful earthquake that struck Morocco. The 6.8 magnitude quake is the strongest to hit the country in 120 years and the deadliest in 6 decades. With buildings and homes turned into rubble, survivors are sleeping in the streets.
We need to help because every family here don't have the house. Every house here is broken.
Old people, you can sleep here. It is 3 days. It's tomorrow, it's goes 4 days. Not 8, not old people, look. No sleeping good, nothing.
But the death toll is likely to rise as search and rescue operations are ongoing in the worst affected towns in the Atlas Mountains. The United States Geological Survey expects there to be a 35% chance that the toll will hit 10,000 people and a 21% chance the figure will range between 10,000 to 100,000. The quake has also caused damage to cultural heritage sites. Local media outlets reported that parts of the Tinmul Mosque built in the 12th century had collapsed, as well as damaged buildings in the Medina of Marrakesh, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In response, the Moroccan government announced on Sunday that it's creating a special fund for emergency rehabilitation programs and rebuilding destroyed homes. It's already mobilizing armed forces to provide affected areas with drinking water, food, and blankets. The international community is lending a helping hand too. South Korea's foreign ministry told reporters on Monday that it's ready to provide support upon Morocco's request and that it's closely monitoring the situation. So far, there have been no casualties reported among the some 360 Korean residents in Morocco. While offers for assistance are pouring in from around the world, including the United States, Turkey, and France, the Moroccan government hasn't made an international appeal for help, saying that it would accept aid from 4 countries: Spain, Qatar, the United Kingdom, and the United Arab Emirates. Song Yujin, Arirang News.
South Korea is continuing to see a trade deficit in the early part of September, with exports falling for 11 consecutive months as trade with China progressively weakens. According to Korea Customs Service, on Monday, the total value of exports for the first 10 days of September stood at $14.9 billion, a year-on-year decrease of 7.9%. Sluggish semiconductor shipments largely contributed to this, as these dropped more than 28% compared to last year. Exports of petroleum products, automobile components, and computer peripherals also saw a decline. Seoul Metropolitan Government announced on Monday that a public transportation pass, a so-called climate card, will be available from January next year for a monthly payment of 65,000 Korean won, which is around $49. The card will offer unlimited travel within the metropolitan area. A pilot project will take place from January through May 2024, with actual implementation scheduled for the second half of next year. The pass can be used to pay for modes of transport within the Seoul region that operate with a basic charge, including subways, buses, and public bikes. It is expected to alleviate residents' economic burden amid rising public transportation costs and contribute to dealing with climate change by encouraging more people to use public transport. The capital city Seoul is offering a chance to indulge in a captivating drone light show every Friday night until late October over the Hangang River. Our Choi Soo-young was there.
On Friday night, Seoul invited citizens to an astonishing drone show over the Hangang River. 1,000 drones depicted Seoul's major landmarks, including Gwanghwamun and the Hangang River night view, before ending the show with Seoul's new slogan, Seoul, My Soul. Visitors said they were captivated by the sophisticated beauty of the drones, which offered a charm distinct from traditional fireworks.
I was so shocked. When I was watching it, I thought it was better than fireworks. It was honestly it felt so surreal. It was so beautiful.
I think it showed a lot of really great scenes around Seoul, and I've seen a lot of the real places, and it made me remember those places and the times I visited them. So it was really great.
The 2023 Seoul Drone Night Show provided citizens with new entertainment during the Seoul Festa held in May with a total of 4 performances. This fall, it will be held regularly at Duksum Hangang River Park Riverside Stage every Friday until October 27th, except for the Chuseok holiday on September 29th. The drone performances have different themes each week, such as Seoul Night Tour, Jazz Night, and Dream World. The show, which starts at 7 p.m., lasts for about 10 minutes.
Citizens can enjoy not only a drone show, but also cultural and artistic performances, making it even better for relaxing in urban spaces on an autumn night to the fullest.
Battery limitations mean the show only lasts 10 minutes, but there's plenty of other entertainment, from performances to busking shows. Visitors can also enjoy camping along the Hangang River while watching the show or just relaxing with their families.
I came here with my child, and it's so nice to feel refreshed. Thanks to the Seoul government for providing this wonderful experience free of charge.
Visitors can find more information through Seoul City's official Instagram or by calling 120 to contact the Tasan call center. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
It's been over 3 decades since the barcode was first introduced to Korea. And our business correspondent Shin Ha-young sat down with the CEO of a global organization responsible for global standards for barcodes to talk about the next generation barcode, the QR code for digital transformation.
The well-known beep sound when a product is scanned is heard about 6 billion times per day across the world. Marking the 35th anniversary of the barcode in South Korea, the country has seen a 1,000-fold increase in the number of Korean companies adopting barcodes compared to 1988. However, there is potential for the South Korean retail industry to go even further, especially regarding circular economy and sustainable growth. That's according to the CEO of GS1, a global non-governmental organization based in Belgium, credited with designing and implementing global standards for barcodes.
So if you look at the retail industry in Korea, it's one of the most advanced in the world already. The European Union wants to implement a real circular economy, and they are asking all export countries to provide data about the products that will be exported to Europe. What we do is to define a global language of business, meaning standardized data that can be used by all partners when they exchange information.
He also stressed the importance of digital transformation among retail and logistics industries by using the next generation barcode powered by GS1.
So the original barcode 35 years ago initiated a strong revolution in commerce and in supply chain. Today, with the next generation barcode, it's the beginning of a new revolution. A new revolution which will lead to better consumer information, and this will create trust with consumers.
He added that another aspect of digitalization is to improve the operation of companies.
Retailers have the possibility with this technology to improve inventory management and also to propose what we call dynamic pricing to consumers. That is, when the product arrives closer to the expiry date, you can make a discount.
A label-free water bottle with an imprinted GS1 QR code on the lid is one of the examples that demonstrates digital transformation and sustainable growth in South Korea. Citing disruptions caused by the pandemic and shortage of certain raw materials, the GS1 CEO said managing the supply chain has become more crucial.
You need to have a good transparency and visibility in the supply chains that you manage. A proof is that during the pandemic, in the countries where a common standard was adopted, they were able to consolidate how much inventory they have for this medicine or this medicine, and then be able to better allocate where they needed the medicines.
He added that functioning as a global language, QR codes will help exporters, including Korean firms, to comply more easily with requirements from around the world. 신하영, Arirang News.
Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Need. Hello, Paul.
Evening.
Let's first start with golf. South Korea's Min-jee, she won the LPGA Kroger Queen City Championship.
Yes, she did, beating English golf star Charlie Hull in a playoff. After sharing the lead after 18 holes, the two battled it out in a playoff, playing the final 18th hole twice before a winner was then decided. A tap-in birdie in the second playoff hole gave Min-jee the win, bringing her total LPGA Tour titles to 9. Meanwhile, at the PGA Tour Champions Ascension Charity Classic on Sunday, Yang Jong-un finished third for what was his best finish this season. He finished at 13 under 200, just 3 strokes behind Kevin Sutherland and 6 behind the eventual winner Steve Flesch, who set a course record.
All right, to badminton now. An won her 9th title of the season over the weekend.
That's right, yeah. It came in the China Open. She beat Japan's Akane Yamaguchi in Sunday's final, 21-10, 21-19. The first set lasted just 14 minutes. The second saw Anne target Yamaguchi's small height. It was her 4th win in as many tournaments in what was the last before the Asian Games, meaning Anne is in the perfect form at the right time.
And to tennis now, Novak Djokovic, his Grand Slam record just keeps getting better and better.
Oh, it does indeed, yes. By winning the US Open on Sunday, he has won his 24th Grand Slam. In New York, Djokovic beat Daniil Medvedev 6-3, 7-6, 6-3 in the men's final to extend his Grand Slam singles title tally to 24. He also managed to match Margaret Court's record for the most all-time single Grand Slam titles. The second set of this final, though, proved key. It lasted for 1 hour and 45 minutes and saw Djokovic earn a tie-break victory. The momentum then carried him on to victory. And at 36, he is now the oldest man to win the US Open singles title in the Open era, and the first man to win 3 Grand Slam titles in a season for the 4th time.
And let's talk about South Korea's men's national football team. New manager, Jürgen Klinsmann, he's still looking for his first win.
Yes, that's right. 5 games played now. The most recent was a 0-0 draw away to Wales in Cardiff at the back end of last week. But Klinsmann says that he is pleased with the team's progress and puts the lack of results so far down to the team being in a transitional stage. He said, following the 0-0 draw with Wales, that it's a normal process between World Cups when there is a turnover into the next generation of players. But Korea play Saudi Arabia in Newcastle in the early hours of Wednesday morning Korea time, what is the penultimate friendly before World Cup qualification begins. But South Korea's under-23 team was also in action. They played on Saturday for a key Asian Cup qualifier, beating Kyrgyzstan 1-0 on Saturday to earn their first 3 points of the group stage, courtesy of a goal from Hong Yoon-sang. in the 3rd minute. The win meant that Korea bounced back from their 2-0 loss to Qatar last Wednesday, but because Qatar is hosting the main tournament next April, the team's results don't count. That puts Korea top of Group B on 3 points, heading into Tuesday's match with Myanmar.
And finally, baseball is our last topic. Kim Ha-sung of San Diego Padres is having a very good season. I understand he has reached a new career milestone.
Yes, that's right. He has a new career high for hits in a single season. In the Padres' 12-2 loss to the Houston Astros in Houston on Sunday, Kim Ha-sung earned his 131st hit of the season. Last year, what was his second in MLB, he recorded 130 from 150 games played. But the 131st came in the 3rd inning in what was his second at-bat. He hit a soft liner to shallow centre, and it first appeared as though Chas McCormick had made a diving grab. But in a video review, it showed that McCormick had picked the ball up after it had hit the ground first. Kim has already beaten his own record for home runs with 17 this season, 6 more than last year. And with 57 RBIs, he needs just 3 more runs batted in to earn a personal best in that metric as well. Up next for the Padres is the LA Dodgers in LA on Tuesday at 11:10 a.m. Korea time.
Thanks for that, Paul. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you.
Weather conditions are still considered fairly hot for the fall season. Highs in Seoul have been at 30 degrees Celsius for the daytime, but this unseasonable heat will start to taper off tomorrow. As you can see, temperatures will keep dropping from this point on. Highs in Seoul will drop to 29 degrees Celsius tomorrow. By Friday, maximum temperatures will be under the seasonal average. Until tomorrow, though, a big contrast in daily temperature is expected. The morning will be quite breezy, but highs will jump significantly to near 30 degrees. During this time of the year, it's much easier to catch a cold, so please take extra care of your health at this time. For the south of the country, scattered outbreaks of rainfall are in the forecast. For parts of 충청북도, 전라도, and 경상도 provinces, 5 to 30 millimeters of rainfall will be coming and going. Most regions will be under overcast skies. Seoul will start off at 22 degrees. And highs in Seoul, Daejeon, and Gwangju will reach 29. Daegu and Gyeongju will be topping out at 30 degrees. And partly cloudy skies will frequently appear in the forecast. On Friday, nationwide rain is in store. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is News Center for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.